Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Lewis Speaks 2024, and today I want to talk to you all about the beauty of conflict. Oftentimes we, as human beings, we tend to avoid conflict. We try our best to keep the peace. We oftentimes find that we go along just to get along. And truth be told, what that ends up doing is starting a war within us. When you're always trying to keep the peace, I've learned through personal experience that you end up starting a war within yourself. You end up taking the conflict that you should have had with someone else and you internalize that conflict, causing you to have increased anxiety, sleepless nights, constant rumination, constant pondering over an incident that happened way in the past when you could have just hashed it out with somebody. And so there is a beauty in conflict. There's a necessity in conflict. And I think, truth be told, conflict cleanses. It cleanses the air. It makes it so that way you are honoring your truth and you're also reinforcing your resolve. Why do we tend to avoid conflict? Well, as I mentioned before, we try our best to get along with people. We want to be liked. Part of our basic anatomy as human beings is we want to be liked and we want to be right. And so in an effort to be liked by other people, we try our best not to rock the boat. We try our best not to make any waves, hoping that by keeping the peace, we'll be able to maintain relationships. But it doesn't always work that way, because what ends up happening is that when you do not express the truth about how you're feeling, you end up internalizing that conflict, which ultimately leads to resentment towards the other person. So I think personally, as a recovering people pleaser, as a recovering conflict avoider, the best thing you could do is just have that conflict, is to just have that one-on-one, clear the air, clear the air. Now, the thing about it is you may lose the people, that you have to confront. Because I've noticed that the moment that you confront people on difficult behavior, the first thing that happens is that they get defensive. Their ego, in an effort to protect their ego, they deflect. They avoid. They rationalize. They deny. That's a big defense mechanism that people use to protect their ego. They deny. So they deny your reality and they deny your intuition in order to protect their ego from sudden death. And the thing about it is this: when they do that, it creates a rift, especially when you know that you are right, your intuition is spot on, but then they're sitting here denying what you already know to be true. So then that creates a rift. But that's the beautiful thing about conflict, because you get to see everything. You get to see and witness the truth about who somebody is. So you don't have to waste years out of your life investing in these people, knowing that they're liars, knowing that they are not honest, knowing that they deny, knowing that they run. You don't have to waste time. Conflict, especially in the early stages of a relationship, is essential in order to know where you stand with somebody. I think one of the worst things is investing years and years and years only to find out that the person you were investing in turned out to not be who you thought they were. There are so many people right now who are losing friends and having to shed. They're in their season of shedding. Shedding the dead weight, shedding the old leaves and the old lives and the old selves, because the people that they were associating with were misrepresenting themselves. And, real situations expose fake people. So as life becomes more real, you start to see that who you were dealing with was not a real person, but rather a representative. And so I think that's what's happening. And that's leading to a lot of conflict in relationships. And that conflict is cleansing. It's giving you a front row seat into who this person or who these people are. And you're being called to make a decision. Either you want to continue to deal with these people, or you actually want to move forward and free up your hands to hold the people in your life who are real, the people in your life who are genuinely meant for you. I think our younger selves, we oftentimes look for availability over compatibility. I'll say that again. When we are younger, we oftentimes look for availability over compatibility. We don't care about whether or not this person is good for our spirit. All we care about is if they're able to go to the club with us, if they're free to go to dinner, if they're free to do some outing, if they want to schedule a trip with us. That's what's important. But as you get older, you have to realize, wait a minute, that's not important. Commonality of experience, commonality of faith, commonality of beliefs, commonality in morals, principles, values, those are essential. Who cares if you're free to go to the club at 10 p.m.? Who cares if you could throw a couple back like me? Come on, that don't matter. All that is irrelevant, you know? As you mature and life starts to get real, you start to realize that you need some real ones in your life. People that are compatible with the person that you're trying to become. So that's why conflict is essential, because you need to know exactly who these people are. And the reality is this, you know, if you are to live an authentic life and be an authentic person, you are going to run into people who do not share your same views. You're not always going to get along with everyone that you meet. And so the thing is, you have to make sure that you are honoring your truth and maintaining your authenticity, because that's what matters. Because in the end, everybody walks out, everybody leaves. Everybody decides that they no longer want you in their life, or they have to go here to pursue their own journey, or they have to die, or they have to do, so they have places to go. That's the reality. And so you want to make sure that you are being the most authentic self possible, because you are the one that lasts when everybody else decides to leave. You are the one that's here. You are the one that's left. You are the difference after the quotient, you know? After that math problem of life, you are always the difference. You're always what's left. And I'm starting to realize that, you know? In all my friendships and relationships that came and went, I was always the one that was left. And so it's so important and it's crucial that I, for one, honor my truth, live authentically, even if it means we're having conflict, even if it means we have a disagreement. You know, me, I love togetherness, I love harmony, I love getting along, I love keeping the peace, I love those things. And I tend to avoid conflict at all costs because I really love to get along and work together with people. But I realize, for one, you cannot cooperate with everybody. Everybody does not deserve your cooperation, that's one. Also, it's a myth. It's a myth to think that you're always going to get along with everybody. Because if that's the case, if you tend to get along with everybody, chances are you're not being honest with yourself and you're not being authentically yourself. And that's the truth. If you tend to get along with everybody, then chances are you're compromising your values, principles, beliefs. You're not being honest and open and vocal about how you feel. You're doing yourself a disservice in order to make somebody else feel comfortable. You're setting yourself on fire to keep everybody else warm. And that's a trauma response. That's fawning. You're fawning, trying to keep people happy, trying to make sure that they're okay, so that way there won't be no conflict. No, to hell with it. Let there be war. Let there be conflict. War cleanses. Conflict cleanses. Please, if you get nothing from this video, take that part away. Conflict cleanses. It cleanses the stench. It cleanses the stink. It cleanses, and it gets to the truth. Because we can all smile with one another, and we can all be cordial and amiable and respectful. And that's all well and good. But the reality is, if you're not being real, if you are not being honest with yourself, then you're doing yourself a disservice. And you can't do that, because at the end, you're all that's left. You are all that's left. So if you're doing yourself dirty, if you are shortchanging yourself, guess what? Everybody you meet is going to shortchange you too. So that's why conflict is necessary, because for one, it lets you know who's really for you. Who is really for me? That's the question that you need to ask yourself. Who is really for me? Who's really on my team? Who really got my back? Right? Because you want real ones. We all want our tribe. We all want people that are right for us. And you can't get to the people that are right for you if you're constantly trying to appease the people that are wrong for you. If you're constantly trying to get along with the people that are wrong for you. Don't. We're so afraid, oh, they're not going to like me. They're not going to this. They're not going to that. If that's how you feel, trust me, you're not alone. But then you need to go deeper into that feeling. Why do I need other people's approval? If they don't like me, what does that mean about me? If they don't particularly care for me or vibe with my energy, what do I think that means? How do I interpret that? Some people feel as though, oh, it means that I'm unlovable. Oh, it means that I'm not enough. Oh, it means that I'm not good. Oh, it means that... No, don't personalize it. It just means that this person, it could mean so many different things. It could mean that they're jealous of your spirit. It could mean that they just don't connect with you. It could mean that they were raised different. There's so many possibilities, but we tend to personalize it. Don't personalize it. Not everybody likes everybody, and it's fine. Not everybody liked Jesus Christ. He was the greatest man who ever lived. He was a beautiful soul. Not everybody liked him. There were so many people trying to put him to death. You know? And actually did put him to death. So the thing about it is this, don't sit up there and try to get along with everybody. You know, I say this, place higher premiums on you being honest with yourself and you bolstering your truth. You know, prioritize that over being liked, because being liked is so short-lived. It's so temporary. People like you as long as you're doing their bidding, as long as you're being their fool and their doormat. They love you. They love you when you are their doormat. They love you when they can play games with you. They love you. But when you are actually setting limits, when you are setting firm boundaries, when you are drawing that line in the sand, letting them know what they can and cannot do in your life, you start to see some real stuff. You start to see some realities about who these people are. And that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. So once again, welcome conflict. Welcome it. Tell it, come in, have a seat. Let's talk about this. We're not going to get along. That's fine. We don't have to get along. I know where you stand. You know where I stand. And that's what's important to me. Now, what's important to me is letting people know where I stand. I place higher premiums on letting people know where I stand now, because too many times I was trying to bend and fit into other people's mold, and it was uncomfortable. And it led to resentment. It led to a lot of hidden resentments. A lot of resentment. And so I wasn't being authentic. And I've learned that, oh, wait a minute. Here I was thinking I was being this authentic person. Wait a minute. I was trying to be nice. I genuinely wanted to be nice, but wait a minute. I'm being nice to them at the expense of my true feelings. That's not cool. That's not okay. If you're being nice to somebody at the expense of your true feelings, you're doing yourself a disservice, which is not nice at all. That's not nice to you. Who's being nice to you? If you're out here being nice to everybody, right? Who is being nice to you? You got to make sure that you are nice to you first. If you are a nice guy, as they say, nice guys finish last. That's true. You know why they finish last? Because they're doing themselves a disservice, always being nice to everybody except themselves. So stop being good and nice to everybody except you. The first person you should be nice to is yourself. And how to be nice to yourself? By being honest with yourself. By being honest about what you like, what you don't like, what you will tolerate, what you won't tolerate. You know? Know your deal breakers. And don't deviate from the script because somebody else feels a certain way. Yeah, they're going to feel a type of way. And that's their feelings. They have to navigate. That's their problem. You have to feel how you feel and stay with your feelings. And that's part of erecting firm boundaries too, knowing where they end and you begin. You have to know where you begin. And so that's a beautiful thing about conflict, because you're learning how to begin again. You're learning how to begin again. You're learning how not to abandon yourself, like you once did. You're learning how to actually stand in your truth and say, if you don't like it, that's you. Okay, that's fine. But I like it. And what I like is important to me. And you have to stand in that and trust. That's not easy. That's not easy. You're going to be alone many, many nights. And that's okay. Because to be honest, I'm at a stage in my life where I'd rather be alone and full of integrity than have company and always betraying myself. There comes a point in your life where you value integrity, personal integrity, over external company. And that is such a good feeling. So there is some beauty in conflict. So I hope this video lands on your heart safely. Please, please, please begin to value yourself and don't run away from conflict. Don't run away from difficult situations because of the fear of losing people or the fear of some unpleasant outcome. The worst thing that could happen is that people move on and they decide that they no longer want to deal with you, and that's actually the best thing. The worst thing is actually the best thing. Because then you get to make room for the people who do rock with you. The people who are genuinely in love with your spirit. You free up space with conflict. I've had so many conflicts with friends, and because of those conflicts, they moved on. They got away, which is great. It's the trash taking itself out. It's your garden weeding itself clean. It's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. And so I hope this perspective lands safely on your heart. And please, please, please know this: conflict cleanses and is a beautiful thing. So I hope you have a wonderful 2024. And I hope that you experience a cleansing conflict that really, really solidifies your love and appreciation for yourself. Definitely. I love y'all. Peace.